Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video I'll be talking about 10 games that desperately need a remake or reboot. Believe me, there are many out there. Through our childhoods and more recent times, there have been games which have been disappointments or games that have been fantastic. There are a whole bunch which need remakes or reboots. In this video I'll be going through 10 which could definitely use a remake or remodel in some kind of way. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is one of my personal favorite games of all time, and I think you really expected it to be on this list. Funnily enough, I didn't actually play this game properly until it was my last year of high school. When I played when I played it through, I was blown away. This game is absolutely astounding. It's got brilliant characters, free-range lightsaber building, full character customization, love interests, incredible lore deposits, and so very much more. I'm not kidding, I loved this game and I still find myself going back to the game to enjoy it all over again. If you've never played this game before, it's basically a Star Wars based Skyrim, but on steroids. If this game got a full reboot, it would be incredible. Just imagine having a new Star Wars game mixed with brand new graphics, animations, voice acting, storylines, and extended lore. The entire game would just be one huge nerdgasm. Honestly, I would love it. I loved I only played the second one, weirdly enough. I never played the original. If someone wants to try and tell me which one was better, like the original or the second, please let me know. And also let me know if I should play the first one, because I don't know if I should or not. But yeah, Star Wars KOTOR, I love it, and I hope it's remade. It needs to be remade someday. Hopefully, just not by EA. While Duke Nukem did get a remake, it's safe to say the game was pretty shit. It didn't do the character of just Duke Nukem justice, and it should be redone at least one more time. Duke needs to be given a true send-off. A remake would make even more sense, especially since a Duke Nukem movie is coming out with John Cena as the main actor. Duke Nukem is an awesome and hilarious character. I always loved his charisma. He's basically a buffer Deadpool. Duke Nukem is a gaming icon and definitely deserves one more try to impress the gaming community. And personally, I played Duke Nukem forever and I hated it, but I played Duke Nukem 3D and I loved that. I loved Duke Nukem 3D. I think I also played Duke Nukem on the Game Boy, like back in my day, and that was fantastic. I love Duke Nukem, and honestly, I actually really hope to see some kind of remake, sometime in future. LA Noire was another one of my favorite games to ever be released. I know that LA Noire was just remastered, but that game needs more than just a remaster. What I need is a brand new LA Noire game, where we get to play a modern detective who has all kinds of access to modern forensics equipment and interrogation techniques in order to find murderers. Now, I'm not talking like Batman, the Arkham series, where we did use like detective vision and all of that sort of thing. I'm talking more like realistic tools that are being used. Like we take fingerprints and we take them back to a lab where we have them tested, and you have to wait for the test to come back. Just realism, just this beautiful, realistic game. I remember LA Noire was one of the most beautiful games to be released, and the facial animation system they used was breathtaking. If we got an LA Noire reboot or simply just a sequel, I think that I wouldn't be the only smiling gamer out there. When I was a kid, there was this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game which I absolutely adored. It was cartoonesque and allowed players to be any of the Ninja Turtles they wanted to be. I usually played Raphael personally, but it was so fun. I think that a proper remake for the Ninja Turtles would be fantastic. I know that there was a TMNT game released for the 360, I think, but that wasn't an actual reboot. It was more like an indie game. What I have in mind is something different. Just imagine a TMNT game made by Rocksteady. You get to play as any of the turtles that you want to be and follow just this really deep, insane storyline. You get to use old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle gadgets like the battle van that they had, the one that fired the discs. You get to use all the toys that you found. I used to have this submarine and I loved it. It was like this it looked like a Lego submarine, but God, if I got to use that in a TMNT game by Rocksteady, I would be ecstatic. In all honesty, it would just be a breath of fresh air in the gaming industry to see something like that. I hope you guys agree with me too. AVP was actually remade a few years ago, I think it was back in 2006, and it wasn't actually a half bad game. However, if that game got a full blown remake with updated graphics and gameplay and maybe even a better story, we could have a gem on our hands. Playing as a predator was bloody amazing, and I would love to do it again. Imagine getting to use their tools to take on aliens and soldiers like we once did, but just in a much more deep and professionally developed environment. It's a shame that this hasn't been remade already, and personally, I believe it's desperate for a reboot. While we did have Alien Isolation, which was an amazing horror game, I would love to see the Predators get some love too, and maybe the whole AVP universe. Serious Sam had its last installment on the 360 and was a fairly fun game to play, but we need a new Serious Sam game to do him justice. Serious Sam is like a toned down Duke Nukem in reality, but the weapons he used were a little more badass in my opinion. I remember playing Serious Sam 2 when I was a kid and having a blast as you would just run around stages wrecking multiple different types of enemies with like 15 different weapons. One of my personal favorites was this shotgun that had like 20 barrels on it and you could just constantly shoot it, and it was so fun. The comical nature of the game helped it along too. If we had a rebooted Serious Sam, it would be absolutely fucking awesome to play. Getting to experience the Serious Sam universe again would be something else, and honestly, I really hope we see it. I loved Serious Sam. I loved his quippy nature, and it would be awesome. It really would be. Darkwatch was my favorite game of all time when I was younger. I spent hours playing that game. Getting to run around as a vampire while slaughtering the undead was incredible for me. I especially loved the choice aspect in the game where you could choose to be an evil vampire or a good one. I also loved that depending on what kind of vampire you were, you would unlock different powers and abilities that would help you through the game. Like I think if I remember one, if you were a gird, you got one called Silver Bullet, which would just one-shot zombies and they would explode. It was fantastic. And I think that the evil one had it was like frenzy or something, frenzy bite, and it was where like melee attacks were just instant kill. And oh wow, it was such a good game. I mean, like, even though some of the weapons and equipment were, let's say, a bit out of place, it was still a blast getting to use what we were given. This game would literally be the only thing I would play for about 5 months straight if they were to release a new one. I genuinely hope that someone in the near future makes this happen. Castle Crashers was an indie game which was immensely fun and quite light-hearted. Visually, it was a lot like the new Power Rangers game that came out. However, it was quite a good game to play with friends. In the game, there was something like 5 or 6 different knights you could be, and you would fight multiple different types of enemies. There were unique and challenging bosses, levels, and abilities that you could discover, and much more. What was the more interesting thing, I should say, is each knight to appear in the game would have their own ability. For example, there was a Fire Knight, a Love Knight, a Dark Knight, etc. I believe a rebooted version of this game would be very entertaining. It would be somewhat entertaining to play with friends and would definitely appeal to the indie game community. Honestly, this game didn't get enough praise when it came out, but I believe it would be it would get more praise if redone with a little creative marketing to back it up. Okay, this is about to get serious now. We need a new bully video game. This game allowed you to do everything you wish you could have done in school and featured a very interesting world to be in. The game was fairly hilarious and allowed you to do so many things. You could start food fights in the cafeteria, fight students, attack teachers, build bikes, go to a fair, go to classes, make consumables. There was so much to do, so much cool shit, and it was such a hit with consumers. A remake of this game with a bigger score, more interactive features, and Rockstar's praised dedication that they have towards their games would make it absolutely brilliant. I really don't understand why this hasn't been done yet, and I hope that they really do go through with it, a new Bully game in the future. It's just a no-brainer. I just don't see why no one's done this yet. Bully was amazing, and I adored it. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I have a really important task for you to do, though. I need you to go into the comments section and name a game that you want to be remade that wasn't mentioned on this list. I would love to hear your thoughts on some games that you wish that you could see remodeled and popular. I love you all, like every single one of you. I just love you to death, and I'll see you next time.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.